Hi there, this is JNAL Algebra Lessons, and this is our next Unit 2 lesson on how to solve a system of 3 equations. So this is probably one of my least favorite math things of all. I've done 3 different YouTube channels on geometry lessons and engineering lessons, and then algebra lessons, all math, but I think I really hate this thing. But it is something that you have to know for Algebra 2, so you have to do it. So if you think you remember everything that we've been doing so far, you did do a system of 2 equations before, and pretty much all the things that we've done so far in these videos have been things you learned in Algebra 1, but I don't think this is one that you learned in Algebra 1, so you might want to pay attention if you think you know everything else. So, a system of 3 equations. Well, we know when there's 2, I already discussed this, there could be 2 lines, and then there's a point where they connect. But the thing about a system of 3 equations, for 2, we know that our answer is going to be a y and an x. So we have a x and y coordinate. Well, for a system of 3 equations, you actually have a z coordinate. So if it was just x and y, that means it's 2-dimensional. But if it's z, that takes it to the 3rd dimension. So let me see if I can try to draw this. So we know that we have our y-axis. Oh, great. Dumb thing cut off. Try to draw this again. We have our y-axis up here. That's how we know what our y point is. And then we have x. But then there's also like a z coordinate. And that would be an axis that kind of like goes like this. So, how could I draw this? Okay, so we have our z-axis. So, let me think. I'm trying to figure out. That's kind of like if you have when you just have a square, you have your y and x. But when you have a cube, or that's not a very good cube, sorry. You have your y, x, but then you have z that goes out this way in depth. So that's kind of what it is. So hopefully that makes sense. But you'll have to find the point where they connect. So if you have a line that goes like this, and then one that goes like this, you have to have a point where they connect. So that, you don't have to do it on a graph for this video, but you will need to know how to solve the equations. So I would suggest looking at the last lesson before watching this, but let's say we had this. Okay. Minus 4y plus 3z plus 41. Then our third one is 2x minus 7y minus 11z equals 85. So there we go. That's our 3 equations. We need to find what x, y, and z are. How? Well, remember, for 2 equations, we could do substitution or elimination, but for this one, you can only do elimination because substitution wouldn't work when there's 3 equations, because when you substitute it, you still leave out the second one. So what you have to do for elimination for this one, you have to first find something. This is why I need to watch last lesson, because I explained more about elimination. So I'm not going to explain as much about it. But you have to multiply by something to make one of these, either the x's, y's, or z's, cancel out. Well, in this case, we don't even have to multiply by anything, because the z's already do cancel out, so that's lucky. Then we would do that, and then we would simplify. And then after we were done with that, then we look at the bottom two and find something that we would have to multiply by to cancel them out. So let's first do the top two. So we don't have to multiply by anything. Technically, we could just multiply by 1, but we don't really need to do that because that's just the same thing. So all we have to do is rewrite it over here just without the z's because they cancel out, okay? Cancel out. So we have 4x plus y equals 45. Then we have 6x minus 4y equals 41. And once again for this video, it's easy to make mistakes on this, so you have to be careful with your math on here. So 4x plus 6x is 10x. Y minus 4y is minus negative 3y. And then 45 plus 41 is 86. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. Great. It's 8 a.m. I don't know if you've noticed the time up here, right there in the corner, but I usually make these in the evening, but I made it in the morning today. But if I've not mentioned this before, I still have classes of my own to have to deal with, so I have to kind of hurry about this because I have to do a AP test today. Well, 2 actually. That's annoying. Well, anyways, there we go. We simplified that. That's all we can do. We'll come back to that. Now we have to find something to multiply these bottom two equations by to make something cancel out. But this time we don't get to choose because it has to be the same thing that canceled out in the top two. Remember, the z canceled out up here, so we can't choose x or y. We have to choose z again. Okay, so how can 3z and negative 3z cancel out? What would make them cancel out with each other? Well, if we multiplied the bottom one by 3 and the top one by 11, we could do that because 11 times 3 is 33, and 3 times negative 11 is negative 33, and 33 minus 33 is 0, meaning they would cancel out. So that's what we do. So we go down here and simplify the equations. 11 times 6 is 66x. We have that here. Then we do 11 times 4y is negative 44y. And then we have plus 33z. And then 11 times 41 is 451. Okay, now we do the bottom part. 3 times 2 is 6x. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21y. 3 times negative 11 is negative 33z. We can already tell these are going to cancel out. That's what we want. That's why we're even doing this. And then 3 times 85 is 255. Okay, now, like with this one, we need to simplify. So, we have 66 plus 6 is 72x. Oh. 44 minus 21, or sorry, negative 44 minus 21 is negative 65y. The z's cancel out. Then we have 451 plus 255 is 706. 706. Okay. Now we have two equations. What we have to do with them is multiply something by that to cancel something else out. And this time you can choose x or y. So once again, we have two equations. One here that we did first. That was the product of these. And then we have this one. That was the product of these. So these. What could we do to cancel out something? We could cancel out the x or the y. I think we should do the x because there's a 10x on here, so that seems like it would be a little bit easier, but it really doesn't matter. You could do the y if you wanted. You will get the same answer as long as you do the math right. So what can we do? Well, we could multiply this top equation by 72, and then this one by negative 10. Okay, so in red, we'll write the product of that. So let's do the top one first. 72 times 10 is 720x. And then 72 times 3 is, that would be, or wait, -3. Hang on, I might have done, I already solved out this problem once, and I'm trying to see if I did something wrong. Oh, yeah, never mind. I got it now. So then we would have minus 216y equals 72 times 86. Ooh, here's where we get the big numbers. 6,192. Ugh. Sometimes I hate writing with a stylus. But you know, if you watch the engineering videos, when I one time tried to see if it would be better to do handwriting, that dumb thing froze up, and that was terrible. Okay, so now we do this one. 72 times -10 is -720x. And then we have plus 650y equals 7,060. Now, you might think this is dumb, but sometimes it's easy to mess up numbers. And one time I tried to solve this and it was bad because I accidentally did 7600. I mixed up the numbers and that was bad because that made me get like a terrible number. Usually your teacher will give you equations that will turn out with whole number coordinates. So if you get something like -2.1587, like something crazy, then you know that's not good. So you have to check your work. So now we know these cancel out. 216 plus 650, or actually it's minus 216 plus 650 is 434y equals 868. Wait a second. One of those is supposed to be negative. Sorry. That was supposed to be negative. Wait, what? That's bad. Oh, yeah, okay. Negative 868. I couldn't even read what I said. Okay, then you divide by 434, and y is -2. Good. We know we did it right. And why I did one I already solved out is to make sure I didn't make a mistake like in the last video. Now, that was the hard part, and it took a long time. But at least now all you have to do is substitute in to find what x and z are. So you can't substitute in the equations up here because that would still have two variables you don't know. So let's plug it in. You can choose any equation that's here. Let's just do this one. So we would do 720x 720x minus 216 times -2 equals 6192. And after you solve that, I'm not going to do the work because you should know how to do that. You get x is 8. Good. X is 8. Then you can plug both of those into this equation. So over here, I'll write what it would be. 4 times, we plug in for x, 8, because we just found that, plus y, which is -2, minus 3z equals 45. After you do all the work, you would find out that z is -5. And that means that our final coordinates are 8. 8, -2, -5, for where these three equations or lines connect. There you go. That's a system of 3 equations, something I don't really like, but at least now, hopefully you know how to do it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.